Um, well, first of all, Harry, congratulations on a stunning film. I was lucky enough to see it a couple of days ago. Supernova is deeply moving and tragic, yet also quite romantic as well. Can you tell us a little bit about the film and where the idea sprang from to tell the story?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for the kind words. Well, Supernova is a story that follows a middle-aged couple called Sam and Tusker who are living with a diagnosis of young onset dementia. And so, whilst they're still able to do it, they travel. They plan sort of a little holiday around the north of England, visiting places from their past and old friends and family. But as the journey progresses, secrets are revealed that sort of challenge their preconceptions of their futures together, and their love for each other is kind of put to the test like never before. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's a very romantic and life-affirming film about what we're willing to do, you know, for the people that are dearest to us. But for me, it's a very personal film because it sort of started, the sort of kernel of it started about 4 or 5 years ago when I was working with someone who, although I didn't know at the time, had young onset dementia, and I worked with her for a year, and I sort of saw the deterioration firsthand. Although, you know, only retrospectively did we find out that that was what was the problem with her. And then shortly after that, she died tragically. And then around the same time, a friend of mine put her dad in a care home when he was 60, and it's just after his 60th birthday. So I just wanted to learn more about dementia, specifically young onset dementia. So I then did quite a few, 2 or 3 years of research working at UCL and with the Wellcome Trust. So the film comes from those experiences and you know, and very personal experiences for me, because I spent a lot of time with people who are living with dementia. So yeah, that's where it comes from. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, it was interesting for me, having had an elderly relative who suffered from dementia as well, seeing that firsthand. You really nailed the early stages. And I thought that was what was quite refreshing about this film, because having seen other films that shine a light on Alzheimer's, dementia, you don't often see it focusing on the very early stages. And Tusker's slow decline at first is really sensitively handled. And I wondered, you've sort of touched on it slightly there, but was it a conscious choice to focus on the early stages rather than those more undignified later stages that occur?
Well, it was, yeah, it was for a number of reasons. And also, you know, as you know, the film kind of touches on the debate around assisted dying and end of life choices. So it was important that the character that I was exploring was at a certain early-ish stage of his cognitive decline for that reason. But also, I think hopefully what's original about this interpretation of it is that actually really the focus is on the person who is going to be left behind, which I don't think often films about terminal illness do. And that was important to me, to sort of focus on a little bit more on the character that is the carer, if you like, in this instance. I think that seemed like an important thing to do.
Absolutely. And both Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth legitimately feel like a couple very much in love with real history. I wondered if maybe you could touch a little bit on the process involved for getting them in the headspace of this couple who have this history and are reliving their past, really, while also having to think about this quite daunting future.
Yeah. Well, as you might know, Stanley and Colin have been friends for 20 years anyway. And we were always, I hoped that we'd always find actors to play those roles that had a previous kind of shared history together, because it was always going to be very intimate, the film, and you know, rigorously kind of two-hander. And so they sort of have a lot to draw from themselves as people, because they've been through some difficult things together as friends, and they love each other, you know. So that really helped. And then you know, we rehearsed for quite a long time, and also did a lot of research. They came with me to the Dementia Research Centre at University College London and met the people that I've been collaborating with there. And we sort of watched documentaries together and read a lot. So we learned a lot about dementia and young onset dementia specifically, and in this instance, a variant of that called posterior cortical atrophy. So we did a sort of deep dive really into that kind of research, and I think it really helps because it's so nuanced what they're doing in the film, that you can only really get that sometimes from like a real immersion in the material.
It certainly works. It comes across as really, really authentic, very believable.
Mm.
Also, what is very believable is the relationship between the two. And I think it's quite a unique thing for me to have seen a film where you have lead characters, homosexual lead characters, but the focus isn't on that their homosexuality isn't defining them. It's simply an accepted part of the characters. There was no, to my memory, specific references in the film to the fact that they were gay or anything that had gone through together. I wondered if that was intentional on your part. Was that mainly just that the focus was specifically on the early onset dementia, or was it also about wanting the characters to just be?
Well, it was deliberate, yeah. I mean, I think it's just always important to try and make progressive work, man. And, you know, I think that's the job. So it seemed in this instance that it would be kind of original and important to frame this universal experience of love and loss, with, you know, within the context of a same-sex relationship, but for that relationship not to impact on the narrative at all, to be completely irrelevant from the story. You know, because I just wanted to normalize it. And I think that's what we've done. Because, you know, I think it's obviously, you know, obviously it's a very normal thing. But I do want to make films that that are that sort of do push boundaries in that way. And I think we've achieved that by not mentioning it, as you say, at all.
You have indeed. It was wonderful. Really enjoyed the experience, Harry. I know that there's a few more screenings tonight and some on Wednesday. I think they're all sold out up at the BFI. But how could people catch this later down the line? Are we expecting a slightly wider release in cinemas, whenever that may be?
Yeah, absolutely. The plan is to release the film on the 20th of November, pretty widely. You know, we're working with the fabulous Studio Canal, who have you know, big ideas for the film. So 20th of November, it should be out almost everywhere, I think. Fingers crossed.
Fantastic. Well, Harry, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Please go and check that out on November 20th, everyone. It's a fantastic film. Thank you very much, Harry.
Cheers.